Hey guys, Tom from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to My Hero Academia Season 5 episode. I don't even really care at this point. I'm sort of wanting this season to be over because they've really done a disservice to this arc. This one's titled The Hellish Todoroki Family, and the synopsis is: Endeavor brings his work-study students over for dinner at Fuyumi's request, but faces awkward conversations at home. Now, I've been told to count the flashbacks in this scene, and then go read the actual chapter to see how many were meant to be there. I finally understand why people continue to watch shows that they're not that fond of, because I know what's coming up in this show. I know how epic that's going to be if they don't screw it up again. But I can't be bothered dealing with all the unnecessary extra content that this season has done. Like, it's already less than 2 chapters an episode. Next episode is also dealing with stuff from this arc. So it's almost going to be a chapter an episode, and when each episode is over 20 minutes long, that's a lot of unnecessary stuff. But I'm going to go into this episode hoping that what they do for this episode does justice to what it's meant to do. And we'll get this started in 3, 2, 1, go. Nope. Let's start the show in 3, 2, 1, go. Half the time it works, half the time it doesn't. That's why I'm like, yay, it works every time. Now this doesn't count as a flashback because it's a recap at the start of every episode. I'm also running on very little sleep. That could be a part of why I'm feeling so down about this episode. As I've said multiple times, I understand the idea, like the train of thought, whoever it was that decided to switch the arcs around, I understand their train of thought. But I, like literally everyone else I've seen talking about this season, agree that it was the wrong decision. Because A, we're dealing with stuff that we shouldn't know about yet. Like, we went from Hawks talking with Darby, trying to get an interview with Shigaraki, to all of a sudden the League of Villains are teamed up with the Meta Liberation Army, who we didn't even know about, and Hawks is a part of it. Like, these are 2 episodes apart in terms of arcs. And again, I understand it's going to be the flashback leading directly into the very impactful arc, but they need this as a buffer. You creepy. In terms of hero, he is amazing. It's already done by the time they get there. In 4 minutes. Why are her nails the same color as her hand? Or does she have talents that I was not aware of? I'm not counting that one as a flashback. I'm sure that'll go well. Hmm. Did, did we really need Shoto's entire backstory? I'm counting that as 2 just for the length of it. Five. Technically, this is a flashback, but it's not a flashback to something we've seen, so it doesn't count. I can't even add anything because I've already talked about those scenes or just reacted to them. Some of them multiple times. I'm pretty sure this is a flashback within a flashback. Yeah, that was a flashback within a flashback. Again, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to show him on reflecting on all the things he screwed up in terms of his family. But this is going on for so long. We've almost hit double digits and we're on like 10.5 minutes. I love it whenever Bakugo uses his mask as a headband. I feel like there was meant to be a frost thing there. Or maybe it was meant to be a yawn, not an exhale. I feel there should have been some movement with her as well. Shoto, why are you skating backwards? Remember when he said he couldn't fly, just stop himself from falling? Yeah, now he can full fly. I know they're also using all the flashbacks to pad out the episode time so they can make up for the mistake they made by switching the arcs. Because if they had have had the arc it's meant to be, then that had enough content to hit the end of season. And then have this in the first 4 episodes of next season, and then the big arc. We're flashing back to this episode. We've hit double digits, but pause. We flash back to a flashback we had in this episode. Resume. That was oddly polite for Bakugo. Don't analyze the food. Well, this just got awkward. His shirts are like Midoriya's. I forgot that. Was he wearing his hero suit under the shirt? Okay, No, this one was meant to be in the chapter. I'm not taking that. Again, that's new, so. Also, I'm not sure if I've pointed this out or not, but the scar is actually from his mum's ice, not the boiling water itself. But because she burnt it and then immediately tried to put ice on it to soothe it, it scarred up. That is the downside of Japanese food. There are a lot of dishes. I don't think I picked up on the fact that that would have made Natsuo feel terrible because he's not in a position where he can forgive his father. And he feels like if Shoto can, then that makes him a bad person, but honestly, it doesn't. And then we get him paying respect to Toya's grave, well, shrine. I don't actually know what to call that. $11 or $12. That's what we got to. Plus there was a double flashback and a flashback to a flashback, so... Once we get through the preview, I'll pause, jump to the actual chapter, and we'll see how many was meant to be there. I don't even know if that flashback to the sports festival was meant to be in this chapter. It was meant to be during the remedial lessons arc. I feel I'm shouting because of the volume, sorry. But yeah, that was meant to be in the remedial licensing arc when Bakugo defers to Todoroki's plan. Because he comments like, that's how I was raised. Todoroki's like, that's not always a good thing. And then he remembers what Todoroki was telling Midoriya. Okay, going to pause now, be back in a sec. Okay, not only did I find out that that was actually entirely one chapter of the manga, like this episode was one chapter, there were meant to be 3 flashbacks in that episode. One of which I didn't even count because it was new stuff. So, that's 2 flashbacks, taking us still down to 10 in this episode. So, tell me again how they're not padding the runtime? But yeah, there's 12 chapters in this arc. There are currently been 6 episodes, counting the one that's coming out tomorrow. Yeah, I'm recording this Friday night, so counting The Unforgiven, which is 106, there are 6. And I'm fairly certain that 107 is going to at least close off, so that counts as well. So 7 for 12. Yeah, well technically it would be 6 for 12 because there was the whole Selkie stuff, but still, at a flat 2 per episode average, when everything else is usually 2.3 to 2.5 average, yeah, that's a little questionable. Anyway, for what new content we got this episode, it was good in terms of the chapter. Like, it was transferred well. There were a few comments that I feel impacted harder in the manga, which is weird because you should be able to put more emotion into verbally saying something. But overall, the new content and the flashbacks we were meant to get, they created an entirely new flashback that is non-manga content. Like that flashback of Fuyumi and Endeavor sitting at the front of the Todoroki household. That was made for this episode. That wasn't in at least the chapter we've been up to. And then they flashed back to it in this chapter. That's even worse. Enough of that. The new stuff was good. The flashbacks were excessive. Some of them were also too long. But I know why they're doing it. Because they made a terrible decision in changing the arcs around. And that has lost them a lot of people who were liking this season. Even with the admittedly padded runtime that they already had with the joint training thing. Anyway, there's nothing we can do about this now. The decision's been made. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't change it. So we're all just stuck with it. And hopefully they go hard with next season. Also, that is another reason that they didn't do the arc that was meant to be here, because a lot of their funding would have gone to the movie. But here's the thing. Taking a scene from an already established episode, putting it into this one with a filter over it, is a lot less time and resource intensive than actually putting in a new scene. Like, I understand that. So they saved money doing that. And also doing a less intensive arc. Yes, there is a lot of stuff they need to do in this arc with the ice, lightning, explosions, fire, plus the dealing with that glass guy. But there's a reason there's a lot more still imaging in this, at least second half of the season. Again, to save money that was probably being used to make the movie. Now, I have my own thing against using money that was meant to be going to the episodes for actual story for a completely original movie. I have my own things about that. I don't think it should be done. I think the movie should use whatever budget they're given and only that. But again, I can't do anything about that. But yeah. This started off so strong and then just dipped. The season, I mean. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one.